funny story. I brought this home and my husband was like, that is like the best looking houseplant you have ever brought home. I was like, I have like hundreds of plants and you like this one. Okay, sure. Not my like gorgeous tricolor stromanth or my, bright and colorful, very difficult ones. You like the one that is probably the easiest, cheapest one around. But that's okay. Anyways, funny story. Hey everyone, and welcome to today's video. We are talking about Pothos plant care. Everything you need to know to keep your pothos alive and looking amazing. So today we're going to start off talking about pothos light requirements. Now, pothos does well in either low to medium light. Now, some people would say they like highlight, but the thing is, highlight to me is more like your cacti and succulents. They can be outside in direct sunlight. These guys don't really like that. If you put them in a sunny window on a hot day, they will burn. If you give them lots of bright indirect light, then they're like super happy. So the brighter the light, the happier they'll be. Just don't put them in that hot, direct sunlight. That south-facing window that like heats up your entire house. Don't put it in there. Okay. So one tip to keep in mind as you're thinking about light in your pothos is that the lower light, the less variegation your pothos will have. So I have this guy here. This is actually a golden pothos, okay? So you can see kind of some of the variegation here on the leaves, maybe a little bit. I've really enjoyed this guy because I put him in a very low light area, okay? And you can tell he's got a lot of growth, but it's kind of a little leggy, not super big leaves. And a lot of this variegation has gone back to just plain green. So they say that it reverts back to a jade pothos. I don't know how scientifically accurate that is, but it will lose the variegation. Okay, put it into a brighter light, and then all the new growth will start having more variegation. So just make sure if you want to put a pothos in a low light situation, be okay with it losing the variegation and just sticking with this green, which, I mean, it's already gorgeous. So if you're okay with it, go for it. And that's what I did. He's in a super low light spot right now. Pothos watering. Now this is a big one. Really, pothos can be very flexible. Okay? The only thing is that whatever you're doing, make sure that you stick to it, okay? Don't be watering it a lot and then suddenly not water it at all. The roots will definitely adapt. And also make sure that you follow the normal indoor plant watering techniques, whereas you have good drainage. You don't let water sit in the pot. As long as you don't do that, then your pothos will be fine. Okay, it's pretty nice, pretty flexible. Speaking of pothos and water, I have some cuttings that I took a while ago. Probably like 6 months ago, maybe, something like that. Anyways, it's been a while. He's just been sitting in here until I have time to put him somewhere else in some dirt. So as you can tell, he does have quite a lot of good growth here. So pothos can do well in just straight water for a while. I don't even fertilize him. I just put him in straight water. So poor guy, right? So I put him in here and they just kind of stay small. They don't grow super huge. He's got good light under plant light, but even that, his leaves aren't very big. So if I want him to grow bigger, I definitely will want to put him in soil. Next, I wanted to talk about pothos pots. Now, Pothos is not very particular when it comes to pots, as long as it has good drainage. Okay, like I said with the watering, it just needs at least one good drainage hole, preferably, oh my goodness, preferably a couple of them, to promote some good drainage. But other than that, they don't really care. Plastic, terracotta, whatever, it's fine. It's up to you. I will say, though, that my Pothos has loved self-watering pots. I have my Marble Queen here in a self-watering pot because I had a golden, let me just show you here. So I actually bought these guys at the same time, right? Let me show you. Oh, here we go. And up and up and up and up and up. So this golden and this Marble Queen I bought the exact same day in the exact same size pot. It was a 3-inch pot for each of them, bought them same exact day, and this guy has just taken off. Okay, so you can see that. Thing is, this golden was originally in this pot. Also, I think golden Pothos grows a little bit faster, and this is getting heavy. Oh, okay. I think they grow a little bit faster than the Marble Queen. But that being said, as soon as I put him in that self-watering pot, it just took off. I'm like, dude, this plant loves a self-watering pot. So I moved this guy in as soon as he outgrew it. So my Marble Queen here is now in the self-watering pot, and it actually has about doubled in size since it's been in here. It was like so tiny. It was so tiny. And I was like, I have this massive guy here. And so I was like, you need to grow. So I put him in here. So basically you just fill up the pot with water. I'm going to show you, that's some dirty water right now. I need to clean that out. Also, clean out your self-watering pots occasionally. They will grow algae, depending on where you live. So we have this. You just fill it up in the bottom up to a certain level, and then they just take the water as they need it. So they love them. I would recommend getting a self-watering pot for your Pothos. Okay, now for fertilizer. Honestly, Pothos grows pretty well. So the thing is, if you want a low maintenance plant, get a Pothos. You don't have to fertilize. You don't have to, water a ton. Like, you just sit it in a low light corner, have it be nice, pretty, kind of like this guy here, And that'll be what your low light plant or your low maintenance plant is. If though you want something that you see on, Instagram, those big giant Pothos leaves, the big, the markings, the variegations, you will have to fertilize. Okay, so you can fertilize about once a month. I would say even as much as twice a month, probably. It all depends on how strong your fertilizer is. So some people put in a slow release into the top of the soil and then they water it in. Other people mix it in with their water and then they water their Pothos. Either way, it just depends on what kind of fertilizer you get. If you want some big growth, big leaves, it will need fertilizer. Okay, and that brings me to the next point is if you do want that big growth, you are going to also have to train it to climb. Okay, that's what they do in nature is they climb up trees. They kind of hang off these trees, have big, beautiful leaves, as well as it also will need fertilizer, more fertilizer and a bit more light at that point too. Okay, if you want those bigger Pothos plants. Okay, so next is Pothos care in winter. Now, in wintertime, Pothos pretty much will be okay. Like sometimes it will go dormant, but other times it won't. Sometimes it'll just slow down its growth. So I've heard some people say don't fertilize in the winter, but if your Pothos is still growing, then you can go ahead and keep fertilizing it. But if it isn't and it just isn't growing at all, no new growth kind of showing up there, then I would say don't do fertilizer and definitely lower your watering. Because especially with lower temperatures, water doesn't evaporate out of the soil as fast. and plants don't transpire as much. They don't actually use as much water in cooler temperatures. So you don't need to give them as much water, or else you will end up with root rot issues. So please water your plants less in the winter. That's big takeaway here. Water less in winter. Okay, perfect. Okay, so for troubleshooting, this is perfect. So I love this because your plants are always telling you that something is wrong. You just need to pay attention and make sure you fix it before it all dies. Okay, so first, yellow leaves. If we have yellow leaves, then our plant is most likely telling us that they are either underwatered or there's not enough light. Okay, so let me grab this guy again. So he's a bit leggy, right? So if one of these leaves turns yellow and falls off, okay, then I need to check the soil, make sure that the soil is moist. If it's really dry, then it means that I'm not watering it enough. Okay, so I need to water it more. I've done that on this plant. This is my example plant. This is my ultimate like set it and forget it plant. And he's still doing great, right? Doing great. I love Pothos. Or Pothos, however, people say it differently. But the other thing is sometimes if there's a section that isn't getting very much light, then your plant will naturally keep growing. It will keep growing and it will let go of kind of some of its other leaves to put that energy into more growth as it reaches for light. Okay, so sometimes in low light situations, leaves will just turn yellow and fall off. Okay, and so that is a bit more normal. Just make sure that you're watering it enough. Okay, make sure that it isn't from underwatering. Okay, and then if your plant starts getting really leggy and you have a lot of, yellow leaves falling off, stuff like that, make sure you water more. And then also you can trim it. So if I were to cut back across here, just snip it right across here, or actually right up here. Honestly, I could take all this off. Okay, then I can repot these and fill in the top a bit more, but then also I can have more new growth in this section. Here, let me turn that for you. In this section that's a little bare. Okay, so if I cut it over here, then I'll start having a bit more new growth start in that section. Okay, and it will stimulate the plant and it will just start growing more leaves. Okay, so if your plant's starting to get leggy and long and losing a couple leaves across, it's time to give it a nice little haircut. Okay, nice little haircut, and it will thank you. Right? That's with yellow leaves, pothos and yellow leaves. Okay, if there are brown leaves, then your pothos is too dry. This is definitely too dry and you need to water more. Okay, if it is getting leggy again, so you can cut it. Also, you can start having it climb up something organic, something it can attach to, like a wooden stake. I wouldn't do bamboo, it's too slick. Moss poles. If it's getting too leggy, you don't like it, give it a trim and consider having it climb on something, and that will really help it. Okay, and then last, if there are black leaves are like the plague. No, black leaves are a sign of root rot or stem rot. It is a sign that you are definitely overwatering your plant. Okay, so don't overwater your plant, guys. Pothos is very generous. So the only way you can overwater your plant with pothos is if you have bad drainage. Okay, so bad drainage and you're watering it like way too much. Okay, and sometimes both. Some people do both. They're just like, here, have my gallon of water all at once with no way to let the water out. And it's like, help me, I'm drowning. And it's like, why are you drowning? It's like, okay, too much water, guys, too much. So make sure that there is good drainage. Make sure that you don't overwater it. But honestly, if you have good drainage with the pothos, then you won't have any overwatering issues, okay? Except maybe in the winter if it's like freezing outside. Oh, if it's too cold, if your pothos is too cold, like under 50 degrees, you also might see some black, okay? So that means it's just too cold, which also when it's too cold, it isn't able to use water, and that water like freezes and all this stuff. So black is frozen and water and not good. So no black plants here, please. Okay, pothos is very easygoing. So as long as you have a good pot with good drainage, you should be fine. Okay, perfect. Now, question for you guys today. My wonderful pothos here, my golden. Should I train him up to climb, or should I leave him hanging? I haven't decided yet. I might use my moss pole for something else, but I might use him for him. So let me know. Should I train him up, try to get some bigger leaves, or should I just leave him hanging? Because, I mean, he's doing pretty well. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the thumbs up and hit the subscribe button over here so that you are notified when new videos come out. And then also make sure to head on over to thegirlwiththeshovel.com. There we have some free Pothos care pages that you can download, and that way you never forget what to do for your Pothos. Okay, so thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Technically, this is an epipremnum pinnatum. Guys, Latin, like, there is no right and wrong way to say Latin. It's a dead language, guys. So, don't say that wasn't said right. Unless you know a Latin person who speaks Latin, which they don't anymore. So, even the Latin person might be wrong. Anyways, don't beat yourself up. These guys are gorgeous, and you can say however you want to say it, as long as people get it. Perfect.